You've lost weight, or at least you're trying to. You've been in a deficit, you're training and you're walking, you're doing everything right. But your belly, it's still there. You might feel like your body's fighting you tooth and nail. This is what I call fat lock, and it keeps your belly stuck no matter how hard you try. And no amount of crunches is gonna fix it. In this video, I'm gonna show you what's really blocking your belly from shrinking. I've lost almost 100 pounds and I've helped many others do the same. If you wanna melt your belly fat and keep it off for good, this video is for you. Okay, so first I wanna tell you the main reason that your belly fat is probably still there and how this is gonna help unlock the rest of the video. So this is a basic fat loss timeline. You got your face, arms, chest, and then finally your belly. That's supposed to be a lock. You guys know I don't have any talent. So all of this is to say that I know that you probably don't want to hear this, but I hope it gives you hope and energy towards this, because it's really just the last thing to go. You can do all the right things and start looking better everywhere and feel like your belly's stuck. It's not because you're doing the wrong things a lot of times, just because you need to keep going. This is the hardest section, and so we're gonna dive into some details on how to get here right now. And if you've never really reached these sections either, don't worry, this whole video is gonna apply to you to get you more into the realm of just losing a bunch of fat. So the heart of this video is gonna be about the fat lock system. This is going to work every single time. It's kind of like the numbers on a dial to a safe. If you miss one, the safe doesn't unlock. And so you got to get all the pieces correct. So none of these are in like a more important order, okay? So the first piece of the dial on the safe to unlock it is going to be your steps and your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's just all the movement that you do outside of exercise. A lot of people just include that to be like fidgeting and stuff, bobbing your head, hair growth, things like that. But I include steps in there outside of actual cardio. It's because that's the major piece of your NEAT. If the NEAT was a pie chart, I would imagine steps would at least be 80% of it. And so the amount that you move, the amount that you actually go throughout the day. And so really we can boil this down to just steps. We got to get your steps up. So what I do, I have this Neskla 3D pedometer. It's the cheapest one on Amazon. I think this thing is so much better than phones and watches. It's extremely accurate. I've done lots of tests with it. It's kind of sad how much I've tested pedometers and stuff for my clients and everything. So as you can see, I go for 14,000 steps every day. It is evening now, and so I'm done with the day. I'll probably end up with like 15,000 steps. But start tracking your steps wherever you are and just increase it a little bit. You don't have to be that high. I have a very active job. I'm a personal trainer and I do online stuff with clients. And while I'm working on their programs, I'm just walking on a treadmill. So you don't have to be equal to that. I'm not saying you need a ton of steps. You just need to figure out where you're at and then increase it. And what I would actually encourage you to do is not to get the pedometer and start trying to walk. I don't want to tell you not to have as much movement, but just for like a week, keep the movement exactly the same as you normally would. See where you're at. The lower your steps start off, the bigger an opportunity you have. Because if you're used to only walking 3,000 steps and you increase that to 8,000 over time, that is going to be a huge bonus for you. The next piece of the dial is protein and calories. You want your protein to be roughly 1 gram per pound of your goal body weight. So if you're looking to be, somewhere around 180 or 200 pounds, I would go on the higher end of that and go for 200 grams per pound of body weight. 200 grams total. And if you need time to get there, if you're like, dude, that is so much protein, I don't know how to do that. It gets easier, I promise. One thing that makes it a lot easier is my protein cookbook. It's just free fat loss cookbook, link in the description and in the comments. So you can take that if you want, but they're really, really good recipes that I think you're really gonna enjoy. So that makes it a lot easier. But sometimes, and I know this might sound like an obvious tip, but sometimes in the morning, I'll just cook like pork chops, on Sunday for the week. And in the morning, I'll just heat one up in the microwave and eat it. It's, pork tends to be more of like a breakfast item. So it kind of makes me feel like I'm eating sausage a little bit. And you can actually get breakfast seasoning. It just came to me. Get breakfast seasoning on Amazon. It's really cheap. And season it a little bit with that. And it'll taste like you're eating breakfast. Throw some eggs in there and you have a great high protein breakfast that starts you off, really well. And things like that. You're just going to get better at discovering the protein that you need. Then of course is going to be the calories. Your calories have to be in a deficit. And even if you feel like you have been in a deficit, I promise you weren't if you weren't losing weight. There are some exceptions to that, but man, they are rare. Where a person, really, I don't know if there is any exceptions to that. If you haven't lost weight, you haven't been in a deficit. But there are certain things that make it harder to be in a deficit. And I completely understand that. But I want to encourage you with this. I think giving the power back to you and saying, hey, even if you have one of these extenuating circumstances such as PCOS or something like that, or Hashimoto's, you can still do this. It is still in the cards for you that if you're in a deficit, you will lose weight. Your body does not magically hold on to fat. No matter how many carbs you're eating or whatever, you could eat straight donuts and chicken fingers all day and have nothing but that. And if you're in a deficit, you will lose weight. There's been too many studies done on this. So please give yourself the power back and know that if I was truly in a deficit, I would have lost weight. So if you didn't lose weight, that should encourage you that, okay, I just need to find where that source of error is. And by the way, the best way of finding that source of error is food logging. So get into food logging. The next piece is your workouts, your cardio and your resistance training. So cardio and resistance training, pick a number of days per week to do each. Maybe if you're new to this, do a total body program where you're doing, Monday, Wednesday, Friday lifting, or even Tuesday, Thursday, doesn't matter. Pick 2 days, pick 3 days, just hit your total body program. It could be with Olympic rings like I have hung up back there. Doesn't matter. Google it and you can find a good program. Just follow that program. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to stop saying that, I guess. But then the next piece is going to be your cardio. And so pick a number of days per week. Let's say it's 3 and you do 20 minutes per day. That is a start. And then you can slowly start to increase that as you get more fit. The program itself, if you just stick with it, that is one of the pieces that's going to unlock this body fat, but it does take time. So just hang in there. And the last little bit that I think people don't focus on, and I honestly don't focus on enough either with my clients, is sleep. High quality sleep. Sleep isn't going to disrupt the law of thermodynamics. You're not going to be in a deficit, and if you don't get enough sleep, then you magically somehow won't be in a deficit. It just makes it really hard to be in a deficit because you are tempted. You're facing more temptations. You're facing a battle by being tired that already starts off to be a losing battle whenever whenever Janet brings in the cookies and sets them on the counter or whatever at work. It's just harder to fight that battle whenever you are tired. And your muscles grow better whenever you get better sleep. More of your weight loss is going to come from pure body fat. And if you're in a low enough calorie deficit, 100% of it could come from body fat. But if you're getting bad sleep, 50-50 roughly is going to be coming from muscle. And so your metabolism is slowly going to be slowing down. And that's what makes it hard in the long run. Whenever you reach that last little bit, if I can show this, whenever you reach that last little bit, if you have no muscle remaining, then of course it gets even harder. It's already hard enough as it is, that last little bit. But whenever, your sleep is bad and your muscles just all gone, it's going to be really tough. And the last dial, it doesn't quite fit in there the same. You're going to see what I mean. But I call it the precision phase. When in doubt, test yourself with 2 weeks of very precise food logging. Don't let yourself have anything else. I'm normally with my clients not like, hey, you have to log every single calorie, even the 10 calorie things. I normally just ignore those 10, 20 calorie things. But for now, in this precision phase, if you're like, dude, but I feel like I'm doing everything right, I feel like I'm food logging, just make sure no alcohol for 2 weeks, no going out to eat for 2 weeks, and precisely log everything for 2 weeks. And if you do that and you're like, oh, well, look, now I'm losing weight, then you know there was some sort of error in the background that you weren't catching. And then you can slowly start to reintroduce those things and see where you're going wrong. Now, this is one that you might really relate to. Before blaming yourself for your slow progress, there's one thing we really need to talk about that I think most people actually overlook on YouTube, and that's your genetics. Genetics play a major role, but don't let that defeat you. Imagine 2 people, both 300 pounds. One has abs at 15% body fat, one has abs at 10% body fat. Person number 1 is always extremely hungry, and person number 2 hates exercise. One of those 2 people might be you. You might be a combination of both. And what I want to say here is fat loss is not fair. Our genetics do play a role, and you have to take your individual circumstances into consideration. Now, again, this could sound very defeating, but I hope it encourages you that if you tackle your specific situation and don't compare yourself to person 1 or person 2 if you're the other person or whatever. That's just an illustration to show you that there are unique differences. You might need to be leaner to start seeing abs. You might be always hungry. Whatever it is, you can play into your weaknesses by manipulating your environment. So if you're always hungry and you enjoy fruit, having a lot of fruit in the house is really going to help you. And not having the things that are always tempting you is, of course, going to be a battle that you don't have to fight every single day. So you have to look at where are your weaknesses, and let's adjust our environment to best work around those weaknesses. But then you can also look into your strengths. Let's say that you're always hungry, but you love hiking, exercise, tennis, swimming, whatever, fill in the blank. Do that thing a lot. Manipulate your environment. If you love tennis, go play as often as possible and get a Wii Sport or whatever they're called, or something. I'm sure there's some sort of interactive thing where you can, maybe the Wii is old news, I don't know, but where you can play tennis with the goggles on, and get activity like that. Whatever it is, press into those strengths because you also have things that you're better at than other people. So let's use those. Next part trips up almost everyone, not because it's harder, but because it's slower. So I'm gonna show you this one on FitBuddy, which is my AI fat loss coach. Again, free in the description. But let's see here. How are hormones impacted during a long weight loss diet? One that most people overlook: when you're in a prolonged calorie deficit, aka dieting for fat loss, your hormones do shift in ways that affect how you feel. And so this is something that I know people blame hormones a lot, but I also don't think that we actually give it the weight that it needs to. So leptin, which is a satiety hormone, meaning that you'll feel more full, signals your brain that you're full. Leptin decreases, meaning that it's telling you to eat more. Ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, increases. Testosterone and stuff they're talking about here. Cortisol is a big one. Elevated cortisol can lead to water retention and feeling soft or bloated. Can also increase your appetite. And so the point here is that with time, your body does start to work against you. I don't want you to use that as an excuse and to give up. I want you to use that. Kind of the theme of this video seems like it's almost, I didn't plan this, seems like it's shaping out to, let's turn this into, I am experiencing this, and turn it into, this is what I can do with this, and to kind of give you your power back. And so hear me, you're not gonna like this, okay? But it's, oh my gosh, it's so important. You need a diet break. If you've been in a calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time, you might have reached a point, and that's why you're watching this video, where it's just like the weight loss has stopped, but deep down, you're not really on your plan, but maybe 50% of the time. That is a perfect opportunity for a diet break. You're kind of already doing it because half the time you're on, half the time you're off. But a diet break, you're intentionally off 100% of the time, not overdoing it, of course. You're just eating close to maintenance, eating mostly healthy foods, increasing your calories. But then you don't have the guilt and the suffering that comes with trying to get back on it right away. So I would take at least 3-4 weeks, see how you feel, wait until you're excited to get back into it. So how do you keep going when it feels like nothing is working? This next thing is the shift that I think makes all the difference and unlocks this whole thing for you. That's gonna be being consistent, but it's not just being consistent, I'm just gonna leave you with that. It's get lost in the process, get lost in the advancement of your fitness and not so much the results on the scale. And I promise, I'm not telling you, hey, forget about your goal and just worry about getting stronger or whatever. The results on the scale will come whenever you're hyper-focused on getting stronger in the gym, doing more push-ups on the rings, whatever it is, fill in the blank in your program, going on a longer hike, going on a faster walk, adding more weight to the backpack during your walk, whatever it is. When you get lost in the process of learning to food log, cooking more, improving your fitness, all of that other stuff comes. And it's so much more fun because every single day, usually you can find an improvement somewhere. Whereas when we step on the scale and it goes up a little bit, it kind of feels like that day, well, day's gone. Like the day, this is not a successful day. But every day will be a successful day if you focus on all of those other things. And if you kind of are wondering, well, what are those things that I should be focusing on? Let me know in the comments. I will directly answer your questions with a video, like a shorts video or something like that, and I will help you out. Now, if you're wondering about exercises and what exercises are best for fat loss, that's exactly what I talk about in this video, so go ahead and click that next because that's gonna answer that question.